Good morning, world. My name is Donnie Glover, publisher of Black USA, and this is the Donnie Glover Show. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Want to take a moment and thank a couple of people, including these wonderful businesses that keep us going. Let's start with the biggest of them all, STEMcityUSA.com. Metaverse. What is the metaverse? It is the future. It's where we're going. It's the world of Oculus goggles and virtual reality, made popular by gamers and now in use by nearly everybody. And the beauty of this network is we're aiming to include communities of color. So special thank you to Dr. Tubman, Edward Glover. Good morning. How are you, sir? From one Glover to another. Brother Glover. So special thank you to Mr. Marty Glaze down there at Commercial Group, my Polytechnic homeboy. For those that don't know, I did 2 years of Poly and then 2 years at Dunbar. And in all honesty, I had the best of both worlds. 2 years at Poly, academics, up to yin yang, including algebra 2 trig and physics by the 10th grade. Boy, that was some heavyweight stuff for me. Then we did our final 2 years, my final 2 years down at Dunbar. Played sports, football, wrestling, baseball, little cross country in my senior year. So we're waiting on our guests. I'm not sure if they're having technical difficulties. This would be an excellent time as we're in the middle of Black History Month to plug my book, I Am Black Wall Street. As a matter of fact, speaking of books, Dr. Tubman has a book coming out called Metaquake. Metaquake. And let me tell you, I'm learning this stuff just like many of you in terms of the metaverse, the Oculus goggles, the virtual reality, Facebook with this whole meta thing. We're all learning this stuff. But in essence, it is the future. It is where we're going. And just consider yourself rubbing elbows with those people who are directly involved in that. And I don't necessarily mean myself, more so STEMcityUSA.com. Also, special thank you to Mr. Murphy, Billy Murphy, attorney at law. You know, edible arrangements. And, of course, real like John Anderson. Edible arrangements, 2 locations. Valentine's Day is coming up. What, Monday? So they have chocolate, they have fruits. And oh my goodness, if you get the chocolate and the fruit together, that's just a marvelous thing. So bear with me. We're going to check on our guests one more time. Do get a copy of I Am Black Wall Street. Very good book on Black history, including 2 heroes, Captain John Brown. Okay, buddy. And John Brown was a white man. And I describe him in the book as one of the greatest who ever lived. You got to get the book. I Am Black Wall Street, available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles. And let me tell you, in case you've never heard of John Brown, his actions at Harper Ferry's, Virginia, many would agree, led to the onset of the Civil War. But without further ado, sorry, we're not CNN. This is BlackUSA.News. Welcome to the Metaverse. Akio
Awesome.
Evans. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm doing perfectly well, man. I'm just blessed to be here this morning, and it's nice, bright Thursday. No complaints at all. No complaints at all, Donnie. How you doing, man? What's going on with you?
Well, we're just glad that you were able to take time for, us little small news outlets around.
No, man. All of them matter. All the news outlets matter, man. So yeah, man. But thank you for having me on board.
I mean, we got preempted. We got bumped by the big boys last week. WJZ looks like they were camping out in your domicile.
Yeah, man. It was definitely a great experience with the WJZ team, and just being able to express the story that you've already been covering since you and I have been knowing each other. I'm just grateful to be able to have that as an opportunity. You know what I'm saying, to be able to share that on other outlets. You know what I mean?
Do I see a Harriet Tubman logo on your shirt there?
Yes. This is actually cut and sewed. This is one of the designs for my Harriet Tubman collection that I was going to release last year.
We're going to kickbox as soon as I see you. I can't believe you would do this to me.
What happened?
I said, we're going to be kickboxing the next time I see you. As soon as I see you, just get in your stance. You got a Harriet Tubman shirt on?
Yes, this is on a Dickie shirt. I made this last year. And this actually has like the hunting camo on the pockets. So I took the fabric from the hunting camo and I put, the image of when they said that they was going to make her and put her on a $20 bill. I took that image and I put it there because, for me, I was always making like Harriet Tubman stuff since I'm going to say 2006. And, I've always loved the hunting camo, even before I found out in 2003 that it was just, a lot of what they would say rednecks wear it or whatever. But, us, we always take things and we make it our own. So I looked at it like, okay, if Harriet was out there, searching and freeing people, she would be dressed in gear that kind of like camouflages with the environment. So I feel like it kind of like helps with that aesthetic of the hunting, you know what I mean? Because if she came to rescue you, and you wasn't ready, you already know the story to that. But yeah, man, I definitely
might get shot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So but I had that. I will put the also her graphics on Carhartt vests. I was gonna release it in January, but if I didn't want to kind of like rush my collection for the sake of if everything is not done correctly how I see fit, because I want to do prints. I want to do like Jordans. I want to put her on like just commemorating a whole entire collection to the legacy of Harriet Tubman. Because some people they don't even understand that this is Tubman City. So this actually highlighting that, I would like to, kind of like when I do art apparel, it's more so to tell a story. You follow what I'm saying? Not necessarily just having for the sake of just rocking it for fashion. It's always is a conversation to tell a story, especially I highlight Baltimore a majority of my designs. So,
and of course, she spent time here in Baltimore.
Absolutely.
As did Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was over there in East Baltimore, right on the waterfront.
Yep.
That's where black people started in Baltimore, over on the east side where the ships come in at, then we migrated westward. I was just telling a friend from Louisiana about the first time I saw a Harriet Tubman school there, because I always thought she was Maryland North. But we do know that with the help of the Union Army, she helped free 700 slaves in South Carolina by way of the Combahee River.
Wow.
When she was a Union soldier.
Wow.
I also know, so to see a school named after Harriet Tubman in Louisiana just seemed like, wow, her legacy, her reputation, her history was well known up and down. But I've also been to Lewiston, New York. Lewiston is a little town right next to Niagara, New York. And she had property in Lewiston. And they have a
Wow.
monument right at the. Everybody knows Niagara Falls, but the falls is also a part of a river, Niagara River. And so right there at Lewiston, there's a monument, and it's a canoe boat with a black lady in it holding her hands up, and it's a white guy. He's got a cap on, and he's
Okay.
handing her baby with another person looking out. And this is what's going on there. Once they cross that Niagara River, they're in Canada. But my peoples, they pulled my coattail and said, now, imagine coming from Maryland, South Carolina, Virginia, all the way through the Underground Railroad, through trails and through hills, wildcats, wolves, and the like, only to get up there to that river, Canada right there in sight, and drown in that river. Because it ain't that river's no chump. To just think about what people went through. So we didn't even go to the beginning, if there's a beginning. You are an artist.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I'm an artist, all around artist. I like to say, filmmaker, documentarian. You know, and over the years, I've been able to kind of like really still find my voice and where any of the art that I actually create, where it can live. And even now, I'm still figuring things out with where I was documenting the organization Safe Streets when it first started. It was started in East Baltimore. It was a program that was really was founded in Chicago. It was called Ceasefire. But this guy, Brother Leon Farouk, rest his soul, he came to Baltimore. Where he actually started Safe Streets after he got out of prison. And I've been volunteering filming Safe Streets for many years. And the footage, they had contacted me to figure out in what ways that we can allow the footage to live, because there's a lot of people who I've documented over the course of several years that are no longer with us. Like my friend Tater Barksdale was one of those people who was definitely putting his life on the line, saving people, mediating beefs, and unfortunately last year he was killed doing that in Douglas Projects. His family was depicted on The Wire. Avon Bodie Barksdale, Tater Barksdale, a few people that a lot of the world doesn't necessarily know that these are real people that The Wire had portrayed. Yeah, they switched the names up a bit, but I would say, but the Baltimore Sun, they had put me in an article one time when I was talking about when I met Avon Bodie Barksdale, which with The Wire had made him into two different characters. I seen a different light of Bodie. He was trying to change, but of course, due to circumstances of, him still connected to individuals in the streets, it's sad to say that he died in prison, in the hospital, because, so anyway, I have footage of these individuals. I have I've documented Baltimore since I was 16 years old, all walks of life, the streets, people who've used drugs, who've turned their life around, even myself. So now I'm looking at in the aspects of not only just the art pro, because that's what I was thinking about, like creating a museum, an art gallery where the art pro lives. But now I'm recognizing that, okay, the footage that I've had documented in Lexington Market, I would go to Lexington Market. I remember Lexington Market had this guy who would come there, and he was a ventriloquist. He would have this black doll that he would kind of like, I don't know if you remember that, but if you walk through Lexington Market, because I used to sell my shirts at Lexington Market when I had
remember
my
a guy that sold puppets.
sold puppets, right?
We had a guy at the Avenue Market who sold puppets.
See, it might have been the same guy. But when I traveled back and forth when I was 21 over the West Coast to the East Coast, I've always had that camera. When I've worked at Target when I was 16, I relocated the camera that wasn't mine, and but that I've always had that in me, whereas though I felt like I needed to take things that in order to make things happen. Of course, my mindset shifted over the course of the years. But in that, I've developed the skills of being a documentarian, and eventually I did the same thing with creating art pieces. Everything that I would create back in the day as a teenager, as a young kid, I felt like I needed to take it. I'm like, I'm not paying for no fabric, but not knowing that, this skill would be where it is today, where now I'm being able to be sought out by production studios and actors and musicians and music artists to do commission work. So I feel like every time I get a chance to talk to any of the kids and the youth, whatever the desire that they have to do, however they are able to, because some of them are like me, whereas they don't necessarily have the guidance of understanding, like, yo, you can do this without necessarily having to um, put the streets in there. Because for me, when I was on the streets, I was trying to merge both, selling narcotics and still selling clothes, and it was a bad mix, man. But all in all, man, I would never take anything back, because that's the story that I do share with the kids when I'm given the opportunity. So, but thank you, Donnie. Thank you for. I forgot we didn't even go into that. Yeah, but thank you for bringing us
So
back.
your art has taken you to, among other places, an Australian tour. Of that, the Augies.
You said well, my Australia trip, that was just it was a friend of mine that wanted me to come out there to experience just being out the country, because I've never been out the country, and being
Come on,
out
let me
there.
hear that Australian accent you were throwing around.
What do you mean Australian accent, man? I don't see. Listen, man, Donnie. Look, man, it's no
When you
Australian
came back,
accent.
you was talking Augie, man. Come on, man. Come
No,
on,
man,
give us
that
some,
was
man.
that's
East
all.
side,
That's all
throw
you.
that Augie accent. I know you got one still tucked away down.
I think you got it down pat, man. That's you, man. You got it down pat. But no, the Australia trip was pretty good, man, because I went out there with the intent of just experiencing that different climate, and then what I wanted to do was I wanted to have my shoes being highlighted in some way, my art being highlighted in some way, and not knowing that, when I went through this, it was this alley called Hosier Lane, and Hosier Lane is it's an alley that the homeless reside there when they don't have anywhere to go. And when I mean by homeless, I'm talking about the Aboriginals, and they're mainly there. And this alley is curated to fund and raise funds for the homeless in Australia, right? So I'm walking, and it's a big tourist site. And when you go there, when you walk through the alley, they have like signs that
Isn't that embarrassing? The Aborigines
that
are homeless
beautiful, beautiful people, and that was their land
in their
originally,
own homeland.
in their own land. And
The
they have an alley.
audacity of some people.
Now it is some places in Australia, not necessarily Melbourne or Sydney, but if you go to the outskirts of Australia, those people still own their land. The Aboriginals still own their land. So they don't care who you are, whether you're an American, whoever. If you step foot in their land, they will kill you on the spot, automatically. I mean, it still goes on to this day. Some parts in Australia, they still own their land, and the government gave them a right to be able to do that. But in some parts of Australia, of course, where the industrial and that stuff had happened with the new development, those people, their
See,
families
African Americans weren't the only ones that endured
at all, and they
that
suffered
level of
even through the
brutality.
80s. Even through the 80s and 90s, of still being looked at as less human, whereas yeah, they have pictures of recent pictures in the 80s of them having like chains on their neck. And yeah, the history is deep out there in Australia. But I will say this: walking through that alley, seeing that, instead of me actually just having a pair of sneakers that I was just gonna probably have, like I was gonna plaster and have it like, how some people put like art around the city, and they put like the mixture of the chemicals, whereas though it becomes hardened, whereas nobody can move it. I wanted to do something like that. But when I met some of the curators in youth projects, they said, "Hey, man, if you want to, the sneakers that you created, you can actually I created these Gene Wilder sneakers, and they said, you can use that as a donation piece for the people that are out here." I said, "Okay, cool." So I did that, and it
This
raised
is
a few
Willy
funds for,
Wonka.
huh?
This was Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka, yeah. When Gene Wilder passed away, this was in 2016 when I was in Australia, everyone. And I was, I was reflecting on the times, and I found the need to just create some Willy Wonka, Converse, Chuck Taylor's custom shoes.
So here we have a brother from East Baltimore creating Willy Wonka shoes in the Australian outback. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, that's right, Mike.
What a story. I'm just blown away. Remarkable.
Man, I went to the Converse store, and they was like, man, we never seen anything like this. And if I didn't do that for the Youth Projects organization, I was just going to have it there in their store on display, which they wouldn't have mind. But, when I went that same mall where that I went to out there, I ran into this owner of this company called Beekeeper, and his name is Koki Sally. And Koki Sally, he had seen what I did because I was just showing the images and the organization who I, donated to. He said, hey man, how would you like to collaborate? We can create this book bag, because he has book bags that he upcycles of the wasteland of these bags that are in Cambodia. And he upcycles the bags, and the proceeds of the bags that's from the wasteland that he upcycles, he sells the bags for about $100, $200. I mean, these bags, like he could turn this and make it into a book bag. And the proceeds from the bag went to kids that wouldn't necessarily get an education in Cambodia. So, and the line was dedicated to a sister that died of cancer. And it was actually her idea to create this. So he didn't know anything about how to, cut and sew or anything. That was her dream. But in her death, in her demise, he had, as a promise, he said, I will continue pushing your legacy. So he had to learn everything from scratch. And now he owns multiple stores in Australia.
That's kind of how I feel waiting on an Akio Evans, special for Doni Glover. I think I'm going to have to go and learn how to make it myself.
You know what, man? Man? Cool.
I'm not in the league with Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart. Who else have you been hanging with? Dr. Dre?
No comment, Donnie. I still got you, man. I still got you, baby. I got all your books.
I've been hearing that in East Baltimore for a long time. I got you. So let's get a tour. Do we get a tour?
Okay, well, let's do that. Let me, all right.
And we're with Akio Evans. He's an artist. I want to say artiste, kind of like J.J. Evans on Good Times. He said he was an artiste.
Oh man, now you got hit it with the J.J. Evans, man, because my last name is Evans, huh? That's how we doing here.
I wasn't even thinking like that. I was thinking of the art. He was an artist.
You know what? That's how the West Baltimore people do, man. Let me figure out how I can.
Actually, my roots are East Baltimore. I love when you get it. There we go. East Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. How do you switch this?
You got to turn it around. That's all. So we're about to get a tour of Akio Evans' work. So bear with us a moment.
Bad. See, I'm still getting
just gotta turn it around.
All right, cool. So when you first walk in my studio, that's me as a filmmaker. That was in 2011. This is on Bond Street. You know what I mean? This is on Bond Street, right? That's me throwing up the peace sign. But my twin sister, she actually was throwing up another sign, So anyway, Malcolm X, I went to the screening, the Lost Tapes of Malcolm X. And we also have, some other images as me being a filmmaker. Mecca, Redo. This is a poster that Visit Baltimore had curated a campaign. And it says, your people are here. This is a dope illustration, dope literature that, I had when you first walk in. And let's see here. Right here, this is a wooden box from Charm City Kings. Charm City Kings, they basically commissioned, HBO, they sought me out. And what was that, 2020, to do 250 wooden boxes just to curate my artistic aesthetic onto uh, 250 wooden boxes. So I decided to put the diamonds, the Baltimore diamonds, on there, and I've also added like the movie stills of the movie, and each and every wooden box was different. They had different different Baltimore icons like the crab, my Akio's logo, the Baltimore map,
You had
and
to do 250 of them?
250 of them. 250 of them were made, and they went to influences. Everybody that was involved in the film, like Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, they produced the actual film. So it all went to. It was some of them went to them. Some went to Angel Manuel Soto, who was the director of Charm City Kings, and yeah, they hired me to be artistic director for the 250 wooden boxes, and it was dope because I was glad to be involved. This is my, of course, my book collection. I have several books, and some of these you will find Donnie Glover's book. So he tries to say, I don't show support, but I show support, man. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. But also I have this painting here that a friend of mine, she painted of me um, on her own, and as she is an artist, I just was like, look, man, because she was selling it, but I was like, nah, I gotta own that. So this photo was actually, I'm sorry, this art piece was inspired by this photo shoot that me and my friend Kirby Griffin we did in 2017. It was when I had the Spike Lee and I also made like these the Crooklyn custom Converse. So when I bought that, it kind of coincided with a collaboration with Geocycling, and they collaborated with Spike Lee to make the hats. And I've asked them, hey, is it a possibility that if you guys want to promote your hat, I would like to collab with Spike to make a Crooklyn Converse. So when I did that, they shared it on their website, and it was like a dope collaboration. That was unintentional. But anyway, this photo was done by this. The photo was based off a photo shoot with Kirby Griffin, and she just decided to paint that. It's a brilliant piece. The details is amazing, and this is another Visit Baltimore poster here. My friend Kunwadi Fidel, he had created this in 2020, I believe, but this had aired during the Super Bowl, and this is another Visit Baltimore, part of another Visit Baltimore campaign. And what else we got here? We have here another art piece. I collect a lot of art. This is a Squeegee Boy art piece from my friend Brian. He owns the Black Genius Art Show, and I have right here another art piece, Akio Jones. I had got this in 2016 at one of his first exhibits. It was a print because all his other paintings are sold out. I had this bus sign here because it was a time, I think last year. Well, no, yeah, it was last year. They was giving out all the bus signs that were in Baltimore, and I was like, yo, I got to collect me a piece. I collected about 3 of them, and I gave one of them away to one of my friends. And
MTA police watching this, man.
Man, no. It was Open Works. Open Works had gave away like thousands of bus signs throughout the city because they was either going to discard them. So I purchased my own bus sign. I have 3 of them that I own legally.
That was a good comeback. I like that.
3 of them that I own legally. And a lot of people was collecting them. I had to get the 8 because when I went to Northern, I was the first one on the bus and the last one to get off because I went to Northern High School. And the 8 was always what I had got on when I went to school. This right here is another photo from Kirby Griffin. Kirby Griffin and I, we've worked on a lot of photos, but this photo was during the Baltimore uprising. And that's my man Moo. That's Maniac Dre. This is Doni. He rides, dirt bikes. But this was actually shot on set of the Revolt TV when Revolt came to Snoop and wanted to interview me, but I came there late because at this time, I I was going through a Great Depression, man. I was depressed, and barely was getting sleep. That explains the red ball in my hand. But that's another story here. That actually, it was not too long after this photo that I ran into Donnie, and I was sharing with Donnie my story of what I was going through, and Donnie was like, man, we're gonna award you. It was like maybe a week or two later after this image. He said, we're gonna award you, and I haven't seen Donnie in a while since then, and he was just blown away by. Me being on the front lines and also doing what I was doing in the community. And he was like, yeah, so it was dope, man. Even in that pain, some good things that came. And Donnie came through, he was showing me support. Everyone, he would give me advice. So I appreciate that too, Donnie. So yeah, but right here, this is a painting that my twin sister did of me. And this is from another photo that Kirby shot of me, right? That story was amazing. The reason why this butterfly is there is because I was on Bond Street, and me and Kirby and we were just walking through my way before I was going to, before we started the shoot, we were just talking. I was just sharing with him about a lot of stories around the block, a lot of stories around the way. And as I'm talking to him, I was talking about my mom, and out of the blue, right, we're in front of my house on Bond Street, and a butterfly had landed on my left shoulder. And he said, Keo, I'm gonna go to the middle of we parked in the middle of the block. He said, I'm gonna go to the middle of the block to see if I can get the camera. If that butterfly is still on you, he said, I'm gonna take photos of it. Sure enough, the butterfly was still on me. And It was wild, man, because I looked
Ancestral.
at, say it again.
Ancestral.
Yes, because I looked it up, and what it means when a butterfly lands on you. And they said that two things. One of your ancestors had came to visit you, and another thing was you had made a big life change in your life. What the change that I made in my life? That was June 20th, right? June 16th, I had decided not to drink anymore. So that was both things. An ancestor came to visit me because I was just talking about my mom. And the second thing was I made a big change in my life. Was since June 2019, if I still haven't drunk any alcohol. It was just a random decision that I made because I wanted clarity. I wanted to be able to utilize, I just wanted to cut it off. I wanted to see and experiment how I can really, and I've been doing it ever since. Surprisingly, I'm still surprised at the fact that I still haven't, and it's just not a desire. I just want to have a control over that. Now, do I say when I feel like I reached a milestone? Would I see myself on an island having a nice, drink with an umbrella in it? Yeah, of course. But I feel like I have so much mistakes that I've made in my life that I have so much things that I need to make up for until I'm able to do that. Until I'm able to really fully feel like I can reward myself to do that. So yeah.
Can we see maybe some of the shoes?
I'm getting to that now. So this is a piece from the Be More Love collection. As you can see, it says Be More Love. That was in 2021. And this was from when Tupac was in the Baltimore School of the Arts. And this is outside of the Baltimore School of the Arts. And this is a jean jacket that he had that he marked up with pen. So I drew inspiration from that, and I put that onto the box. And this is like the second pair that's inside the box. But the first pair is from their yearbook photos. And this is an interactive piece that when I was selling these, you get a chance to write on your own shoe, because I wanted to have like an experience when the collector collects the sneaker that they too can actually write a poem or anything that they feel they need to write. So on this side is Jada Pinkett, and this is a poem that was from what Tupac had wrote about Jada. And on the Nike swoosh, it was blank at first, but it reads, it was something that I wrote, is how deep is your Be More Love? And the other swoosh, the other swoosh is falling in Be More Love with every story that rose from Baltimore's concrete. So I created that. And also these are Be More Come That's Baltimore shirts that I created. This a remix that I made from the line called Come That's Sons. But for me, Come That's Sons, Come That's Sons, the line, actual luxury line, it means play like boys, right? But when I do Come That's Sons, it means like play like Baltimore, because the heart is their logo, but I put the Baltimore Maryland flag inside the heart logo, and it's like a remix, and a Baltimore spin to it. And one of my collections that I have right now that's owned by AkioEvans.com, it's the Baltimore Save the Air Force One. It's the comic strips from the actual Nike comic book that was released in 2017 as a commemorative artwork of dedicated to us of how Baltimore we had resurrected the Air Force One. Without us, the Air Force One would have faded out to existence, right? So it's featured the story in the comic strip on both sides of the sleeves, and on the back here, it's the Be More comic strip that was this artwork was a mural that was painted on West Baltimore on the Cinderella shoe store, and Ed Pitzker, artist from Pittsburgh, he painted it, and I felt inspired to make a shirt out of it. When the sneaker released, that was when this mural was painted. I didn't really like the sneaker. A lot of people didn't like the sneaker. They felt like they should have stick with the old aesthetic as to the color of the month, how the Air Force One was resurrected, but they did like the sneaker that was black, and it really didn't. I feel like it didn't do any justice to the actual story. But needless to say, I was intrigued by the story since 2006, 2007, not knowing that I would meet the people that, like, one of the guys is Mr. Paul. He's still with us. I met him in 2020, April 20th of 2020. And that was before I started making like these hoodies. And it's crazy because when I started making the hoodies, Charlie Rudo, it's three amigos. It was Charlie Rudo, aka Mr. Shoe, Paul of Cinderella Shoes, and DTLR. They was the three amigos that went to Nike to tell them, like, hey, look, we still have some people in Baltimore that still want these shoes. And it was only sold here when they gave them 12,000 pairs. Now, Charlie Rudo's family seen the hoodie that I made that had this design on there. And one of his family members had messaged me. He's like, oh my goodness, thank you so much for um, uh, keeping our legacy alive. And she said, I'm going to purchase a hoodie from you. And she said, this actual post and what you're doing actually made me cry, because a lot of people forgot about this story about how Baltimore saved the Air Force One. And I was blown away by it, because I'm like, wow, anybody else could have been like, hey, yo, like, that's my uncle. And second, she didn't even know about the mural that was painted here. She didn't know. So the only way that the mural is actually told is if it's on art of pearl. It's the difference between a pearl and you wear a pearl, but art of pearl, it tells a story. One of the
Where's the mural?
the mural is on Pennsylvania Avenue, but it's guess what? Just about 2 months ago, this guy who is connected to the store, he randomly painted over it. Paul was upset about that. Everybody was upset about that. He painted it gray, so he painted over history spitefully. Because the guy, he's not from here. He's a foreigner, but like he had no reason to do that. And Nike didn't even know about how he painted over that mural that was dedicated to our city, saving this popular phenomenon, this shoe. So now it only lives in people who've collected the book that came out when the shoe came out, or it's now lived on to the art of pearl, being able to tell a story. And it's like more so the things that we talk about all the time. And then one of the things that a good friend of mine is DeWatkins, and today is actually his birthday. One of the things he shared is that if you're not telling your story, you're giving society space to kill you. So if we're not sharing these stories about Baltimore and about how things are, reaching or changing in a sense, we're not telling our stories. No one else will.
Speaking of Mr. Watkins, what's going on tonight? He noted tonight you're doing a screening.
Yes, I'm doing a screening. Meteor Man. That's another story. Another story that I'm actually, that I've started. Okay, how Meteor Man started was August 15th. And before I go back to my seat, I'm gonna show you a Meteor Man piece. The Meteor Man. This is the Meteor Man hoodie. I made this hoodie in 2020. All of my hoodies are signed and signature, and I put the comic book strips on the side. This was actually the first design of comic book designs that I did, that I released as a collection. The first design that I'm gonna get to the story right now. The first design that I released was Black Panther. Now I showed you these two. I showed you Visit Baltimore posters, right? You know, because Visit Baltimore, they mailed me each poster of all the campaigns that they released with my friends Kadwani, Fidel, and Mecca. Um, they had me take over their Instagram in 2020, right? And when they had me take over their Instagram in 2020, it was in August, I believe, 19th. And when I took over their Instagram, I was I was taking a hiatus. I wasn't even on Instagram because I was like, harnessing. But throughout the summer, I was wearing like these Black Panther shirts that had the comic book on the back, similar to what I just showed you guys for the Nike comic book and the Meteor Man comic book. I had the comic book of the Black Panther on the back, and I was just wearing those shirts all summer. So when I did the campaign, they asked to take over the Instagram. So I was back on Instagram, just kind of like sharing stuff. So I was sharing pictures that I took in June of this Black Panther shirt. And a lot of people was like, whoa, oh, that's a dope comic. I like how you did that comic book on the shirt. You should start selling them. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll start selling them. You know what I mean? But at first I wasn't agreeing with that. I was like, oh, whatever. So after the campaign, which was on August 20th, August 26th, I had said, I'm thinking about releasing the campaign on Saturday. It was August 26th was on Thursday. August 27th was on Friday, and August 28th was on Saturday, right? I said, everybody, I gave a quick shout out. I said, everybody, I'm thinking about releasing the Black Panther collection. That was going to be my first comic book collection. And on Friday, I gave another reminder. Hey, guys, tomorrow is the day. I'm finally going to y'all been asking about it. I'm released the Black Panther collection, y'all. August 28th, Chadwick Boseman passed away. He passed away on August 28th, and I didn't go along with the Black Panther collection. You know why? Because I don't ride no wave. But a lot of people was like, no, you should still sell the Black Panther because we seen that you was selling the shirt since June. I said, no, I'm gonna hold off on that, right? I held off on it, and I was just pondering, okay, what can be my first collection? Things happen for a reason. First of all, that freaked me out that I was about to release the Black Panther that day, and he passed away. That freaked me out. Second of all, I said, yo, I gotta dig a little deeper. So that was August, September. I was thinking of these ideas, and then first I was going to do Jim Carrey's Mask, because that was from another comic book. But something else told me like, nah, you should tie something Baltimore. And I was like, what was shot here? Media Man. Oh yeah, right. They had 6-part series that Robert Townsend went to Stan Lee, and they, you know what, Media Man being noticed from Baltimore. Yeah, that being noticed from Baltimore. Yeah, that's gonna be my first line. I love Black Panther, but Media Man just tied to Baltimore because it was shot in Filming in Baltimore. You know what? Okay, October 15th, I'm gonna release Media Man as my first collection. Release that as my first collection, and it's so. Speaking, y'all, check this out. The day that I released the collection, I was talking to Doni. And me and Doni, we was talking. I forgot what we was talking about. I was sitting right here, and we was talking about. All I kept on hearing was my phone was saying ding while I was talking to Doni on the phone, and we was just talking about like internet stuff, marketing, and how I can do like all this other mail blast and all this other stuff because he's always tied into what I'm doing. And then I got off the phone with Doni, and I realized I was sold out of all the Media Man stuff. I said, Doni, I just sold out all my Media Man stuff, man. And now a year or two later. Now, my friend Rob Lee, he's a podcaster. He said, hey, man, look, let's collab, man. Let's have screenings because a lot of people don't know that this movie was shot here, and they don't. They don't know. And that's what I'm saying about the stories. Like, if we're not telling our stories, how is people going to know? So it went from me taking this idea of a collection to now today I'm having a screening of Meteor Man, and we're doing it in donation because we don't have rights to the film. So the best way to do it is you give people to come in. It's free, but you just donate whatever you can. That's how you can do screenings, and that's what we're doing with the Motor House. Is tonight at 7:30 p.m. and people can register to tickets. If you go on my Instagram, it's at Akio Evans. You can actually register to come by and just have a good time. We're doing the protocol.
You mentioned the website. What's your website?
It's buyakioevans.com. BYAKIOEVANS. Buyakioevans.com.
Forgive me, I messed that up the first time. Buyakioevans.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but yeah, Donnie, you remember that? I don't know if you remember, but I was talking on the phone with you, and look at that. Look how full circle. I'm talking on the phone with you now. I mean, we're doing this call again now, and it's the media man. That's wild, Doug. But I finally released Black Panther November, Chadwick Boseman's birthday. You know what I mean? His birthday is in November. And I told that story. I told that story how the synchronicities, every time I'm creating something, even for Allen Iverson or even for Dr. Dre, it's always like these synchronicities that's lined up to the creation that I didn't even know. Or like, that freaks me out.
So
You
you're
know, it freaks me
following
out
the
all the time,
spirit.
man. But yeah.
So you're following the spirit.
Mm, mm, mm. And I think I tied into, this is the director slate. That, when I teach video production. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let me go over here too, so that way you guys can see some other things.
Did we mention
Right
The
here.
Wire?
Say it again.
Did we mention The Wire? HBO.
Did we mention The Wire?
You did some work for HBO.
Okay. I did a few pieces in 2007, 2008. That's how I was able to meet Felicia Pearson, the actress on The Wire. And when she wore some of my shirts on The Wire, it got the attention of David Simon. David Simon seen this. He was like, yo, I need to get a shirt. So the Wyatt Belton, the hairstylist, he done Anthony Hopkins hair. He's done Hunger Games. He's done a lot of films and television shows. He contacted me via MySpace and was like, hey, man, David Simon, he's seeing everybody on set wearing your shirts, and he wants a shirt. So then he had commissioned me to make him a shirt. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't commission me at the time. See, I'm so used to this stuff. David Simon, I get on set and I was like, look, man, this is your creation. Like this is you. And at the time I still had warrants in Baltimore and warrants in Phoenix. I was 22 years old. And I was like, hey man, this is yours. He said, how much would you normally charge for shirts like this? I said, well, $25, $30. And he said, nah, man, I can't get this for you for free, man. He said, you said $30. I said, yeah. He said, well, he gave me $100 bill. He was like, how's this? And at the time I was like, all right, whatever. I said, but yeah, do me one favor though, man, because I wasn't gonna get this to you for free, but let's take this picture with each other, whatever, right? I didn't have, smartphones wasn't out then. You had to have like one of those compact, small digital cameras, and that's what I had. So he took the photo and he said, I got to tuck the shirts because my producer is going to take the photo. And he said, I don't want her to, at the time, he's like, I don't want her to say anything or with license and copyright and all that stuff. But we took the photo and I didn't see him until my friend DeAndre McCullough's funeral. This was in 2011. This is when I still had my locks. And I went to DeAndre McCullough's funeral and I seen him with his wife and David Simon and him and his wife at the funeral. And I remember David Simon had his head on his head the whole entire funeral. He was upset because it came into shock to everybody that DeAndre overdosed the same way how his pops had overdosed. And I felt that from the spirit that David was given, that he felt like, oh man, he wish he could have done better. So at the end of the funeral, I seen Doni. Doni passed away too. Doni's character was inspired by Omar's character, but Doni, his wife is Fran. Fran is DeAndre McCullough's mother. I seen him and I was like, he told me to holler at DeAndre's brother. So I hollered at his brother before I left. And as I'm walking out, I see David. And I said, hey, David, because I had my locks. I said, you remember me, man? I said, you probably don't remember me, but I had sold you those shirts. He said, yeah, I remember you, man. He said, I still have those shirts. They're in my office in a glass case. I said, wow. That was in 2011. 2012. And I was like, I said, wow, man. I said, well, thank you. And I left. I left it alone. Fast forward to We Own the City. That was just shot here a few months ago. It airs on HBO in April. I was on set and I was just talking to regular people and sharing that same story with people. And the guy who I was sharing it with, he just so happened to be the producer of the show, the top producer of the show. He said, hey, man, he said, I'm going to get you. David's back there. Let's bring you back there. Bring me back there. People said that Dave don't ever talk to nobody while he's on set because he's focused. Man, we talked for damn near like 30 minutes to an hour. And he was like, he had said, hey, man, let's do it again, man. I said, but let me ask you this, man. You said you had my shirts, right? I said, you really sure? And he said, yeah. He said, I can never wear your shirts. It's art. He said, like, I couldn't wear them. I said, oh, wow. He said, so let's take this picture. So it's crazy that even he seen this as art in 2007.
So
everybody else sees it as, oh, I need to get a shirt. I need to wear it. these people, a lot of people, when they get like Media Man stuff, when it be like in LA, they be like, Keo, I can't wear it. Like, I'm not wearing it. This is art. This is an art piece.
So
And I'm now noticing that it's back. Go ahead.
We got to wind this down.
Go ahead.
What is the universe saying through you to us?
What is the universe saying through me and artists?
What is the universe saying through the art about you, to you? What's the message for you? What do you want people to?
Storytelling is important. Storytelling is important, and how
But Baltimore seems to be at the core of your art.
It is. It has been. Not even just that, was even the filmmaking aspect. You know, yeah, it has been. But I feel like more so just was deep rooted into our upbringing. Like the reason why I'm creating Meteor Man, because me and my mother, we love Meteor Man. We loved Meteor Man. We loved like comics. She would give me comic books, and she knew that I wouldn't read the comic books, so she would take some comic books away until I read them. So a lot of what I'm doing now is also coincides with the love that her and I both shared for these things, and also the love of Baltimore. You know,
you got to mention Akio's Glorious Heroes.
Say it again.
You created your own comic book, Akio's Glorious Heroes.
Absolutely. I've been. I was gonna wait till I announce this, but I'm actually highlighting a lot of Baltimore icons that we admired over the years, and I'm turning them to, you know, comics, and I'm making illustrations of them and creating their own superpowers, you know, and it's a whole story behind it. Whereas though it just came naturally, and the story makes sense. It's not just I'm just pulling things out the hat. Like the storyline between these iconic people who we know in Baltimore and how they have these superpowers, it matches, you know. And so that's why
damn well you got a Donnie Glover's Black Wall Street shoot somewhere coming up. I know damn well that's gonna happen.
Hey man, you'll be on some Professor Xavier type of stuff.
Sounds good. Tell me anything.
But you know, like I said, it just with this is the image. This is what's this? The cameras that I've had shot over the years. You know, high 8 cameras. That's the Do the Right Thing cassette tape. That's me and Spike Lee right there at his headquarters at 40 Acres of the Mule. That's autograph joint, Spike joint right there.
Who does for you? Who does the cleaning?
Listen. I do that on my Saturdays. You
That's a lot of damn cleaning. You better pay somebody.
Listen, Saturdays is the day that I do that, man.
But I guess you'd have to get a bonded cleaning person because they're dealing with museum stuff. True, and I'm sure you got insurance.
But this is an old place, and the dust happens like within a week. Every week I'm dusting. It's like it's crazy, man. But yeah, I normally do that each and every Saturday, which will be this week. You know what I mean? But I've been having like so many commissions that sometimes yeah. So anyway, but right here, it's an award here from this guy that I can't think of the guy's name, man. I think his name is Danny Glover.
Oh, that's an expensive one.
That one right there? You talking the Black Wall Street Harbor Bank one?
Oh yeah, that's an expensive one.
Nah, I don't think it's expensive, man. But but man, yeah, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. And of course, I have me and my friend Tay. We collaborated on making like these Charles S. Dutton. That's what we like to do. We like to, if we don't highlight our heroes or the people who've done it beforehand, it's like, what we doing here? You know,
have you ever met Rock?
Yeah, that was Rock.
Have you ever met him?
I got a chance to talk to him on his birthday. He just turned 71, but I got a chance to talk to him last year on his 70th birthday. I have his number, but you know, sometimes, you know, his mind, you know, he's older now, so it's like, you know, you gotta kind of like, just like my uncle, you gotta kind of like beta man and all that stuff. Say it again.
Who's your uncle?
Tiny Tim Harris, the legendary Tiny Tim Harris. He's he's doing pretty well now, is what I was telling you about what he was going through in the last week or so. But yeah, he's a legend, man. Legend.
Entertainer extraordinaire.
Absolutely. He's featured in the Reginald F. Lewis Museum. He's been contacted through me through Apple TV series. They are doing a new series here in the coming spring months of The Lady in the Lake. It's based off a book of that lady that was found in Drew Hill Park in the 1960s. That miraculously was in that middle section of the Drew Hill Park, but they
Found on the
contact.
fountain.
Yep, yep. It's a book. It's a book about that, and they contacted. They seen my uncle's piece in the Reginald F. Lewis Museum, and they was like, the director said, "Oh, we got to find a way to get in contact with this guy. He's the inspiration. He's one of the inspirations behind the actual new series that's being shot here. Lupita is going to be in it, and Natalie Portman is going to be in it as well. They're actually already filming some of the stuff in New York right now as we speak, but they're going to be coming to Baltimore in the spring."
What's your message to young people?
My message to young people is to follow what you innately have in you. You know, like if you have a desire, or just pay attention to the close signs of what's already naturally in you. Like for me, for example, is sometimes I'll be looking at a ceiling and I'll see a face that's not even there. You know, it's like that tells you that, you know, okay, I'll see that face, and then I'll take that face and I'll put it on paper, and so that already showed me that I have that in me naturally. So just try to identify what's in you naturally, and no matter what, because I was embarrassed by some of those things that I had naturally inside of me. I've allowed society to put me in a box where I felt like I needed to do everything under the sun that was illegal, and then I paid for it as a young adult, and I had to start late by now contributing to society with having, you know, working for Hawkins and stuff like that. And but follow your heart. Just follow your heart, and you know, eventually you'll find your purpose. I'll share this one last story
Where
with
the
you.
X at, man? Where DMX artwork at, man?
Man, that's folded. That's folded. But a lot of the stuff got sold. I sold some of those art pieces, and
You
you
hung out
know,
with DMX?
in 2006. In 2006, I met DMX. DMX, he wanted the belly dicky shirt off my back. See, I have this.
X gonna give it to you.
I had
Gonna
scenes
give it
of
to
the
you.
belly
X
movie.
gonna give it to you.
I had scenes of the belly movie onto the Dickie shirt, and it was going all the way down the shirt. DMX seen that in 2006, and it's
He
a long
said,
story,
"Yo,
but make a
you
long story.
know."
Yeah, he was like he was like, let me get that off your back, dog. And I was like, you know, at the time I just came from I still had a warrant, so I was on a Greyhound, and I was on the Greyhound from East Baltimore, Upper Baltimore, all the way to Spokane, Washington. It was like a 7-day trip, and a friend of mine was like, "Yo, that belly dicky shirt that you got," he said, "Doug, wear that because DMX is in town. I want you to meet him." And so when he wanted that shirt off my back, I had like a drunken T-shirt underneath, and this is before the concert. And he wanted it off my back. I was like, "Nah." I said, "D," I said, I didn't trust the fact that if I give him this piece and he wears it to New York, you know how New York is when they see an idea,
They
they
would
probably
steal
would
it.
take it.
We got
So
we
that's
got
why.
to run. We got a show coming up. Buy
What do you think?
AkioEvans.com. We are proud of
Yes.
you. One day before I close my eyes, I might see something be more newsish, but I'm gonna let it slide for now. But we proud of you, Eastside.
Appreciate you, man. Peace, 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 and blessings. Thank you for having me. I
We're proud
appreciate
of
you,
you,
man.
big brother. My
Man,
name's Dr.
proud of you as
Robert. It's
well.
been Akio Evans. Good morning, world.